So you can imagine I mean, that's why they had, I don't know if you were following whenever the financial crisis and things like that happened, but Iceland was one of the places that really had a lot of riots, and it was really impacted.
Iceland or Indonesia?
Iceland. Iceland was really impacted, yeah, highly impacted by the financial crisis, because nobody was shipping to them, or there was no exports or imports for Iceland. They couldn't afford to make the things that they needed to import. It was too expensive to send things over here or to export. It was too expensive for them to take in imports. And so all of it kind of in one, plus the debt that everybody was in, made it a real difficult situation. There was a lot of riots and things like that, but we kind of saw that as a gospel opportunity to be able to share with people about how they were struggling with finances and things like that. Here's a better way.
Are there opportunities to do missions work in Indonesia with the orphanage?
Orphanage? Yeah, I mean, we're always asking for support for it, things like that. But basically,
And safety.
yeah, safety.
That's the question.
So here's the thing that we're doing now as a church. We're, instead of taking one trip every year and having just a certain amount of people go, we're actually, next year we got 3 trips planned. So we'll take three different groups. So the guys who've been going over the last couple of years, instead of going together, we're going to lead different groups to go. And so we'll have more of an impact, and we can keep up with things a little bit better about how things are going and things like that. And so we have an IMB missionary who's fairly close to where we're working, but he doesn't really have anything to do with what we're doing. We're doing it independently of the mission board. So we're kind of doing our own thing. I mean, they believe in what we're doing. They love what we're doing. They wish more churches were doing what we're doing, but they're working in their area, and we're kind of they're leaving us to take care of this project. And so that's what we want to do. That's why we still need a missionary there, and somebody who's living there full time, somebody who's pastoring the church, planting the church there.
I just had a question about your church plant in Locust Grove.
Yeah.
Is it affiliated with the Southern Baptist? Do they
It
help
is.
support it, or
Yes.
are you okay?
Jennifer will like for me to share this, but in August, end of August, I worked for Coca-Cola for 7 years. I quit my job, and so I raised money from different churches, one being Spotswood, to be able to support my salary. So I gave up a pretty decent salary at Coca-Cola, obviously a pretty stable job, wasn't going anywhere. I don't think Coca-Cola was going anywhere anytime soon, and company car. And so Spotswood was able to, the week prior to me leaving, somebody got sent to a nursing home. Their car, she donated her car to the church. They found out about what I was doing, gave me the car. So Spotswood was able to do that. So that's your church doing. That's people ask me all the time, how is Spotswood, how are they partnering? They're not just giving financially, they're really partnering. They're allowing me to come and speak to different classrooms to ask you to do specific things for us, or opportunities to do specific things for us. And so it's very generous of them, very, very opportunistic too. So.
Question. Indonesia is a Muslim country.
It is.
So you, by their laws, are kind of restricted to what you can officially do and not officially do. Now, understanding that, the question is kind of two-part. With them, I would assume that we would follow the same kind of guidelines there that you do in like North Africa or any place else where you're kind of almost anonymous. You're not really there on the official, we're here to be a Christian church. How does that translate over into Iceland? With them having a state church, is a Christian church that isn't a part of the state church as frowned upon there, or are they just kind of open and liberal about that and let you do that and figure it's not going to matter to them as a political institution?
Okay, I'll answer the first part, Indonesia, first. Because the island of Bali is mostly Hindu, we don't have to go under any kind of premise of we're here to teach you English as a second language or anything like that. We're not here to be English teachers. We actually have the opportunity to tell them why we're there, because this is not a radical Muslim group. The Lolowan people there that we're trying to reach are very, very friendly and open to us coming in. They actually want to learn more about what we do, who we are. And so, it's like I said earlier, you can go and, because you stick out like a sore thumb where we are, in Denpasar you wouldn't necessarily, because it's capital. So you get a lot of Australians who fly over, and that's kind of like their paradise to go to is there. So you get a lot of Australians. It's only a 5-hour flight for Australians to go. And it's a 24-hour flight for us as Americans. And so it's a good long ways for us. But you'll see Americans over there, because it's a tourist area. But we're 4 hours away from that, and as soon as you get out of Dipsar, you can see it. It's really poverty-stricken, and so there's the opportunity is to we stick out like sore thumbs. So we get to talk to anybody we want because they know that we got money. They know that we're wealthy on anybody's standards, especially their standards. And so they just want to talk to you, see what you're about, see what you're doing. It's so easy to just talk about the gospel because even with the Hindu people that we come across, they're open to any God, so they're open to hearing about anything we got to say. And so we introduce them to Jesus, and they're like, yeah, we'll take it, we'll accept it. And we're just one of the many guys that we already got, you know. And so that's very difficult too to get past that and say no. So they believe in that. The way that they'll describe it to you, the Hindus, is that God's on a mountain and they're working their way to get there. So they believe in total reincarnation. So each time that they're born again means that they didn't make it the first time. So they're trying to keep reaching and keep reaching. And so basically our presentation is, you know, you don't have to go to God. God came to you, and here's how. And so it's a pretty neat opportunity for us to tell them about Jesus and what He did for us. And so the Muslims are they're the same way. They've kind of got this Hindu influence in them about the friendliness and the welcoming part, but they're very closed-minded when it comes to what they believe, and so the opportunity is there. Now, Icelandic church. The Icelandic church is, I haven't been in about 3 years, so I haven't been since the church really got up and functioning good. So I'm not real sure, but there is some friction there with the state church and things like that. What we're trying to do and start a new work. The only friction though comes from the people itself, not really the state church itself. You know, the people already believe in state church. You can go into a state church on a Sunday morning and find about 30 people worship. You know, so out of 300,000 on the island of Reykjavik, or the island of Iceland. And so Reykjavik is where we mostly work, because that's where most of the people live. And it's an interesting country. It's interesting down there. It's a beautiful country though. Beautiful.
You
Primarily.
like rocks and moss.
Huh?
You like rocks and moss.
Rocks and moths? Yes, that's true. Yeah, lots of lava rocks too, yeah.
Is that state church for, I mean, basically Catholic?
It's like a European Orthodox mentality. If you can kind of, yeah, I'm a Catholic, ish, yeah, Christianic-ish, you know, Christianish. I mean, because they've never been to church. I mean, they don't go to a state church. It's just the kind of thing they follow under.
Have you sat in a service there?
I haven't, personally. No. I went and saw
Do
the
they have
churches.
a Bible?
Yes,
In
they
there?
do have a Bible, but it's, yeah. Nobody ever reads it. It sits in the pew.
Self-interpretation.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. It sits in the pew. Nobody ever reads it. So.
Maybe like Church of England.